Yeah, I'm gonna get to this book eventually. Another download. Stories are the retelling of our experiences, and they shaped. Can y'all see my eyes? Probably not. And they shape who we are, who we believe ourselves to be, which I consider to be the concept. What stories are you telling yourself? Let's go this way. It's better. What stories are you telling yourself that shape your self-concept, which is AKA who you believe yourself to be? For example, outside of being like the box that we check, black, gay woman, I also identify as being a spiritualist. And based off of being a spiritualist, I believe that, I believe in religious freedom. I believe in the supernatural. I believe in my spiritual psychic abilities and gifts and other things that shape my self-concept. So a part of my self-concept, I believe that I'm a spiritualist. What are things that you believe that shape who you are? So this concept came from, what is it called? There's a specific book that I read, can't remember, I'll put the title here, but it talks about how we are consciousness, right? We are just existence. But in order to live in this human experience, we have ideas about ourselves and beliefs that shape our identity. But once you understand that you are not that self-concept, you just understand your consciousness, you'll kind of move through the world a little differently. So like previously in my last video, I talked about getting curious about life, questioning things, unlearning, deconstructing, really allowing yourself to evolve. So maybe this is a part 2, but I challenge you to question yourself and ask yourself questions and think about the stories that you're telling yourself that are shaping your reality. Who do I believe myself to be based off of the stories that I'm telling myself? This could even simply be like, I'm not worthy enough. That's the story that you're telling yourself. And the story could be a lie, right? You can change the story. You have the power to change the narrative by retelling yourself a new story. So for example, I've experienced pain when it comes to, just my upbringing, right? And when it's in a relation to one person, I could tell a story that results in them being not the martyr, but them being what's the word? I could tell a story with that person being the criminal. We'll just say that for context. Not really a criminal, but I can't think of another word. But I'll tell myself a story that puts me in a position of a victim, right? And so I told myself this story over and over and over again. And as long as I was the victim, I was sorry for myself. I felt like I could do no wrong. So the story I told myself about that situation was that I'm a victim. And attached to that story was the belief and attached to my self-concept that I could do no wrong. I'm not a hurtful person. I don't need to change. So this self-concept was created about myself, by the story that I told myself. But when I healed and I had accountability and I had self-awareness to make the change, the story changed. I got to see a different perspective. I told the story to myself again and I was no longer the victim. I was able to account for my behavior in the situation and also see the other person's side from a different perspective because I was extending them empathy and forgiveness. So I began to change my narrative and my self-concept began to reshaped, that I'm no longer a victim. I'm no longer not a person that can never be wrong. It's that I'm a person that's learning, that's growing, that's healing, and I make mistakes and I learn from them and I extend people empathy. So you see, as you continue to tell yourself new stories, whether they're realities that happen to you and maybe you start having different perspectives, maybe they're affirmations that you no longer want to attached to yourself, like you're unworthy, but you want to start believing that you're worthy, is going to continue to shape a new self-concept about yourself. So what stories are you telling yourself that don't support who you want to be? And what new stories or affirmations do you need to start telling yourself so you can create a new self-concept for yourself?